What's happening all? It is Tuesday, September 21st, and this will be the last time you see me for just a little while. Probably about like 4 or 5 of these is going to transpire before I return, maybe even less. I'm going off the top of my head here. But in my absence, we all know that I have a significant team, right? 32 members of my team that are going to ensure that questions you have, needs you that arise are going to be handled. They're very, very confident, capable people. Remembering back to April, I was out for nearly the entire month of April, and it was one of our best funding months ever. So who knows, maybe if I get out of the way for another few days, maybe it's going to help us crank up to that next level. So just know that you need to reach out to the team if you have any needs whatsoever. You can still email me, aaron.chapman at snmc.com. That's still something you can use. You can still shoot that there. I've got 2 people to watch that inbox. They'll be able to make sure that you are directed to wherever needs to see that question or that concern to make sure it's handled. I'll get back in the saddle shortly, and we'll just keep going on with business as intended. But let me give you a little bit of advice in this process, working with folks. So what I keep trying to, or at least keep reiterating with my team, is that the absolute greatest skill that you can possibly have in business or in life, period, is communication. The ability to communicate to other people, ensure that the information you're giving is understandable based upon their experience, and then finding out for certain that that it was understood. Not that you're trying to be an authoritarian of any sort, but you want to be sure that the information is conveyed in a way that people understand. The one thing that I do know in my side of it, right, when I first got in the industry, trying to understand what I was doing was really, really tough. I was not dealing with people that were good instructors, good teachers, albeit good people trying to teach me what they needed to. But I was going off of their experience and what they understood. A lot of what I had to gather on my own, just understanding little tiny bits of it over 18 years. It took me 18 years to I really, really felt like I got my footing underneath me before I think it'll start really pushing forward. Now I'm nearly 24 years in the industry. I'm starting to feel like I've got a really good handle on it. So 20 years had to transpire for me to get to that point. You've got a single transaction. You don't have 20 years to figure that information out. The people you'll be communicating with on my team, many of them have over 20 years in experience in this. They will be speaking from that experience. The problem is when you're speaking from experience, you're speaking in a way that it's just normal conversation where it may be foreign information being given to the receiver. So you as the receiver, you have a responsibility to ask questions, to determine what did you mean by that, and try and have a discussion about what that is to understand it. It's also, in my opinion, the responsibility of the provider of the information to ensure that it's provided in a way that everybody can generally understand. So this is one of those give and take scenarios that I'm going to encourage both you as the receiver of information to ask questions, and also those who are providing the information to dumb it down a bit. Try and make sure that everybody gets it to the best of your ability. Now, we're not all built that way, but we should strive to work on it. That's what I'm trying to do, is strive to work on that. So it doesn't mean I'm perfect. There's gonna be information I'm gonna provide here that's gonna have questions, right? So that's something I wanna just encourage you guys when you're talking to my team while I'm out, ask questions. If you don't understand it, dig deeper, understand why. Everything they ask for has a reason. Just understand that. I know that sometimes this enormous amount of paperwork does not make sense, not from your perspective, but if you want to understand it in greater depth, why that's needed, what does that change, what does that document do for you, ask about it. Get an open discussion. Take the time to learn that. It'll also help whoever on my team to better understand how people are at least receiving that information, so that way they can continue to improve their delivery. So it helps everybody. So thank you for listening to me spout off for a minute. Let's talk a little bit about the market. So interesting things going on out there. We're starting to see, again, housing market. It has still high demand. A lot of it has to do with the fact that it's still harder to get things done. There is still a tightness on the labor market. We're still not able to get materials as fast as the demand is requiring, right? So even D.R. Horton, the largest home builder, is saying that they're going to see several thousand completions that are less than what they anticipate, what they expected to have done this year versus what will be done based upon how things are going. That drops our projections a little bit. So it could be, several, probably about 3,000-4,000 homes, I'm guessing, based upon the data I've been looking at. Again, I don't have their direct information. This is all from third parties that are giving a summary of where they're at. So it could be 10% less homes, something to that effect, 10 to 12%. So understand that does have an effect. Now, things are starting to improve as far as lumber prices and all that, but shortages, or at least the delivery, is still taking time. So that's one of the effects of that. So demand is still up. So with that demand still high, delivery still taking a little bit of time, we're going to keep, I believe, housing prices, housing price will continue to go up. Value, I think, and price are two different things. So as far as I'm concerned, people may be overpaying for things. Other thing to think about, right? We've got what's going on over in China. One of the largest entities in the world is defaulting on hundreds of billions of dollars of debt. How that trickles down, I don't know. But if you see what people are talking about, go back to what happened with Lehman Brothers. When Lehman Brothers went shit side up, basically, is the best way to say it. You start to see the global effect of that. What's the global effect going to be if something like this in China? Hard to say. So look back on what happened during the crash of 2008. Where were you at? What were you doing? What do you need to have in place to prepare yourself there? All right, so let's take a look at what's going on in the market. Interesting stuff out there. So when we're looking at, I've talked before about actually, let's just look real quick at what's going on, just, the 2.5. The 2.0. This is where, your owner-occupied deal is going to get. This is where everybody who talks about mortgage-backed securities is going to talk about this particular coupon. So this is where whoever's investing in this coupon gets 2% return on their money, and then you add those margins to get probably about somewhere in their high twos as far as an interest rate when you're an owner-occupied client. That's what you're using to buy your house. They believe this is lower risk. That's why they're willing to give up their money at that cheaper rate. Personally, I think it's higher risk, but that's just me. I'm too tied to the real estate investor. So what I've drawn out here is what appears to be, would probably be like, somewhere right around that par 80, 100.80, 100.82, somewhere in there would be like our floor. This would be a very, very, very strong floor. As you can see, it has provided support a few times and it's bounced off of there. Now we went right into it 2 days ago, and we have found a good solid floor, and we've come back off of it. This right here seems to be what's been providing a ceiling. Getting above that's going to be very, very, very tough. Somewhere right around that 101.50 mark, right? 101.45 to 101.50. So that being the situation, we're going to see us bounce in that direction when it comes to your owner-occupied type of rates. So that's what I'm at least anticipating. We'll get over into what I'm seeing also here for the 3.5. Now, I've been showing the 3.5 as like a benchmark for us to go off of because we're going outside of the market to try and find our capital. But look at this. Now, all of a sudden, we can get into it again because Fannie and Freddie are now allowed to support the real estate investor. Interestingly enough, though, Fannie's still a little bit higher priced. I'm starting to see them. They're not as forgiving on the rate. So we're still trying to find continuing to find other places. So not going to Fannie Direct exactly, just because they're just not the premium place for us to go. So that being the situation, people who are doing like delayed financing, you're buying a house that you're adding you have some rehab costs that you're going to put into escrow before you close, and you want to get a refinance done and pull that money back out. Reach out to me if you want to know more about that. Within the first 6 months of ownership of that cash purchase, we got to go directly to Fannie for that. You're going to have a little bit higher price, but it's worth it for what you're getting. It's way worth it. We can talk more about this. So as you can see, we're above support, right? So we're in a little bit of a higher channel. It looks like we're still pushing pretty close, not far off the best parts of the best pricing we've been in a very long time. But again, Fannie's not going to be our best place for that right now. Looking here also with the 4.0, same thing, but I'm going to look more at the 3.5 because the 4.0 is not necessarily giving us, that's for people with lower credit scores, where I go for that. Think something under like a 720. Your scores start to tier down from 740 and above. You're going to have the same interest rate as it's influenced by a credit score. And when you're talking about a 739 to 720, you're going to have an adjustment to that rate because of score, not because of the other factors. There's multiple factors that go into rate, from 719 down to 700, from 699 down to 680, and on down every 20 points. So everything in that window gets the same adjustment within that 20-point window. So that's where you start seeing the score starting to drop down into low 700s, high sixes. That's where we'll be looking at this 4%. Then you start getting into the 4.5, that kind of thing, depending upon where your credit score goes. But let's think about this. Let's say you have a lower credit score in the high sixes, and you're being priced off the 4.5. So you're going to look at an interest rate in the high fours. Not a big damn deal, guys. Before the pandemic in 2020, our interest rates for 740 and above was in the high fours, right? When I first started buying investment real estate, it was in the 7s, okay? And then it bumped up as high as the 9s at one point when I was buying investments. I have 3 properties right now in the 6s. Rates don't matter. We talked about this before, but I'm reiterating that before my last transmission here, before I take off for a little bit. It doesn't matter. Get that 30-year fixed. Get that thing leveraged for as long as you possibly can. The rug is going to get yanked out at some point, especially with what's going on in China. The Fed's having a 2-day meeting today. We don't know how long this is going to last. Take advantage of the opportunity, at least to be able to say you did. And then later on, even get the rates up in the 6s or 7s. It doesn't matter anyway, because that means inflation is going to keep going up, going to keep eroding the dollar. It doesn't matter. Get your mind right in that. Get ready to start kicking ass. Go to the website, aaron.chapman.com. Scroll down to the donate opportunity there. We're seeing a lot of people jumping in there. Sorry, this is the long one. I want to get some information out to you to at least gnaw on and think about till I get back. Take care of my team, communicate, ask questions, have some questions ready when I get back. We'll see you guys soon.